Hi guys, I have been revamping the culminating activity for this course. I think it's pretty good now, and I want to go over part four. So, with part four, you're going to find two things. You'll find it attached normally in the assignment area, but you're also going to find it in the content area. So when you go to the Google Doc, you can see this here that I'm saying, hey, I really want you to look at the content page before you write this. The reason for that is because I give you lots of ideas and direction for the supporting details that you can use. So really, really important that you review this content page because I think it'll save you a lot of time. Okay, so what I want to show you, you are going to be writing me. You can kind of have choice here. You can write me a paragraph or a series of paragraphs. If you only write me one paragraph, your mark won't be as high as if you make the effort to write me a longer piece of paragraphs. So just keep that in mind that if you're okay with sort of a shorter assignment, you can have a bit of flexibility in this, but I'd really like to see you give me multiple paragraphs in this one, hopefully five specifically. Okay, so what are you going to be doing? You're going to be reflecting on your growth as a reader or a writer throughout the course. So if you look here, you're going to choose one of these statements. So describe some strategies from the course that helped you to become a better reader, or you're going to describe some strategies that helped you become a better writer. So you might go, I don't know. I don't know what we used, right? So that's why over here, I've outlined some of the strategies that we've used. So there's different things that we've done. So there's been content areas, and the way I've set it up, the reading strategies are on the left and the writing strategies are on the right. And I've also got the hyperlinks to different things that I want you thinking about when you're talking about that supporting detail. So on the left, you've got your reading strategies. Right. So if you click on these links, let me just make it a little bit smaller. And you were thinking, okay, well, if I want to come up with one supporting detail, say I chose reading strategies that have helped me become a better reader and I want to think about my first supporting detail, I might come over here and go, oh, well, okay, Miss Allison said there were content areas that helped me review reading strategies. So she's also linked in the five different ones that kind of stand out really big for the things that we did. So if I was to click to try to find more support for my idea here, I might go to this one where I'm looking at the information paragraph and look at right here. How do you become a better reader? So these are some before, during, and after reading strategies that you were taught about in the content area that might have helped you to become a better reader. So over here, you might say, one method of support is that the content areas in the course outlined specific reading strategies that help you to become a better reader. For example, I learned about before, during, and after reading strategies, and I was able to start to preview titles, visuals, and or organizational features in my reading. Better because I actually realize that's a strategy that helps or that good readers do. Or maybe you started to question, why is the author writing this? Maybe you used during reading strategies, or you might have used that one does a bit more. So there's lots of strategies that you could outline in that first point, or maybe you did some after reading strategies. So maybe you responded through writing. You guys did this a lot, right? Maybe you summarized. You guys did that a lot. So you have to think about how you became a better reader and then give me an example. So, firstly, I became a better reader during this course by accessing the course content. Um, For example, I used before, during, and after reading strategies, and specifically, I used something like visualizing to help me picture what the story was actually describing in April's Jump. Maybe I thought about where the setting or how it looked outside, and I could picture her running down, or I could picture the fight in the school playground before, so you got to kind of think about making the link here. So that would be one supporting detail, and you've pulled that off of here. Okay, so if I was then to look at my second example, I might, if I'm doing reading, I might use, well, okay, these are some reading strategies that we used. We did jam boards, we did a see, think, wonder. Oh, I don't remember what that is. What was that? So if I flip over, oh, yeah, remember when we looked at that picture from the newspaper article with the polar bear, and we started wondering, what did we see here? What did we think about what we saw? What did we wonder? What things were confirmed in the end? That's a reading strategy, right? So you could explain that. You also might look at something like this example where we did the tiny house or the rent your small home. Remember, we did lots of these where you had different questions that were related to directly stated, indirectly stated information, or making connections. That's a reading strategy that you guys used. So, how did you do with that? Did it help you to learn more about the reading? That would be something that you would outline to me as your point two, right? I became a better reader by using the see, think, wonder strategy. I used it in this example where I looked at a newspaper article, and I thought about what was actually happening, what I saw. I made predictions, right? Those are all reading strategies. So that would be an example of something that you could use in part two. Same thing in terms of writing strategies. If you would rather be going through thinking about your writing strategies, well, we used all kinds of these graphic organizers. And these graphic organizers were there specifically to prompt you to think about how you could be, a better reader or writer when you looked at those things. So hold on, my computer's just getting a little funny. I didn't think I had it. Oh, yeah, I do. Okay, so um, so there's the summary writing that we did for newspaper articles. You're going to see the templates. You guys are all familiar with these. You'll see the templates that we used for a short story, and they were a little different than what we used um, for a newspaper article. So, for a newspaper article, we used something that looked like this to help us kind of pull out our main ideas for writing. For April's Jump, we used a graphic organizer that looked like this, and it helped us pull out all of our information for writing. So that could be in your culminating, you'd pick one of those things that helped you to become a better writer, right? Or a better reader. It's totally up to you which side of the column you want to go down. Now, the other thing, the third point that you're going to come up with is kind of thinking about, okay, in every assignment, whether it was a reading assignment or a writing assignment, I had specific success criteria that was on my rubrics. So in Jot Notes, remember that very first one for the video nuggets? You guys looked at doing Jot Notes. So starting with a bullet point. I got to edit that, or a dot, not worrying about punctuation, not worrying about capitals. So that was a way of, when you were watching that video, to quickly come up with ideas and jot down the things that were happening as it happened. You also looked at the success criteria for that template, using directly stated information, indirectly stated. So maybe you found this really good to highlight one question in the column, to delete the rest, and then to really focus on that one question. Or maybe when you were doing short stories like April's Jump or Zoo, maybe you found this type of success criteria worked really well for you. So to draw out ideas, to make connections, to identify the main idea of a text, to locate the specific information, right? So you located who the main characters were, you located um, what the climax of the story was, you located what the setting of the story was. So all of those things are strategies as you're going through. The see, think, wonder. These are some success criteria strategies that you would have used during that. So that could be your third point over here about how you became a better reader or writer is I used my success criteria. For example, when I was reading a short story, I found it easy to do these things, right? So think about the things that you've actually done. Same thing for writing strategies. You might be able to pull for your last point over here. The final reason that I grew as a writer was I identified the success criteria that was important for good writing for each of the pieces that I did. So, for example, when I did newspaper summary writing, I really used this success criteria, and I found that that supported my writing, right? So you've got examples of success criteria there. So the reason that I really want you focused on this content area is I tried to help you think about the ways that you should have or could have become a better reader or writer throughout the course. So you've got content areas that could be your 1 point. You've got reading, writing strategies that we used that could be 1 point. And you've got success criteria and your use of success criteria that could be your next point. Now, you might also choose, well, I want to do two of my points about success criteria. I want to talk about newspaper summary success criteria and the short story. That's totally fine. Or you might want to talk about the two graphic organizers that helped you to become a better writer, right? So, all of your points, you don't have to pull one from each of these areas, but it's here as a guide to get you thinking about, well, what are the things that we did? How did I become a better reader? Well, I could pull 1 point from here. I could pull 1 point from here and give examples, and I could pull 1 point from here and give examples. Or how did I become a better writer? I could pull 1 point from here in terms of the content area that helped me become a better writer. I could pull an example of an organizational template that helped me become a better writer, and or I could pull an example of how success criteria helped me to become a better writer. And boom, I've got my three main points here. And my topic sentence would be something along the lines of um, I have used many strategies throughout this course to help me become a better reader. One, I was able to access the reading strategies that were available within the course content. Two, I was able to use the templates and the different examples, um, reading strategies that we used as we did different examples throughout the course. And three, I was able to use success criteria for what makes a better reader, um, to help me become a better reader. And then here you're going to outline with more specific details each of those three things. In the end, you're going to summarize, you know, these are all the reasons, or these are all the ways that I was able to become a better reader. I used the content, I used the organizers that were provided for me, and I applied success criteria. Maybe you didn't apply success criteria really well at the start, but you began to, right? That's still showing an improvement. Or maybe you didn't fill out the graphic organizers the way that you should have at the start, but near the end, you started spending a lot more time on that. Maybe you didn't watch the instructional videos at the start, and over time, you started to. So, those are the sorts of things that you're reflecting on in here. And last part, you've got your rubric here. So I put paragraph or series of paragraphs. I'm really hoping Like if you're hoping to get a level 3 or a level 4, it needs to be a series of paragraphs. If you're aiming just to finish the culminating, um, you'd be looking at more a level 1 or a level 2 if you only do one paragraph. So I'm really hoping that you guys, kind of work away here, because I think you've got lots of different evidence that you can use, and lots of great examples that you can use. So remember, you've got prompts here. You don't have to use all of them, but you can incorporate them into your writing, uh, just to kind of help you get started in terms of drafting your writing. Okay, so that is part 4 and the final part of the culminating for the literacy course. I hope that it goes well, but I'm sure there'll probably be some things that we need to adjust after you guys go through it for the first time.